Felicia Hardy, aka the Black Cat, has been many things to our favorite costume hero. An enemy, a lover, and an ally. Originally intended as a foil for Spider-Woman, Marv Wolfman relocated his luck-wielding villainess to the world of the Amazing Spider-Man. And since 1979, Lady Misfortune had a big impact in major Spider-Man storylines. But her influence doesn't stop at the pages. In this video, I wanted to explore the different portrayals of the fiendish feline in video games to determine which is the best Black Cat. Tell me in the comments which version of the cat you think is going to be the best. And stay tuned until the end of the video because some of these rankings might surprise you. And if you're enjoying this video at any point, please hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's dive on in. It's safe to say that this version of Black Cat was very nostalgic for many fans, including myself. So I'm gonna try my best to stay purely analytical.
I can never get enough of my little Spidey man.
Horny. I'm not horny. I'm analytical. Web of Shadows is a game about black and white choices for Spider-Man. From the color of Peter's suits to his suitors, Black Cat is a perfect foil for Mary Jane in this game, as she feeds into the impulsiveness of the black suit, convincing Peter that with great power comes great exploitation. Not something you'd see promoted on an episode of Sesame Street, that's for sure. Her characterization can be often one note, which isn't helped by some of this writing.
And I get this huge rush from seeing you.
You attacked me. And what do you mean I showed up early?
I was doing it for you, so you would see that we were made for each other.
Geez, what in Odin's beard are you talking about? Her costume is pretty traditional with a few tactical upgrades, which fits perfectly in the world of Web of Shadows. She can talk the talk, but can she walk the walk? 100%. She is high-flying as Spidey himself, giving the webhead chase by swinging building to building using her grappling hook. Treyarch does a spectacular job of designing her moveset. It is both ferocious and flirty.
Horny.
I'm not horny, guys! I'm not horny! A big gripe I do have with this game is the banter between characters gets constantly interrupted when you hit them with an attack. I understand. It can be a little difficult to get a word out when Spidey's performing kickflips on you like he's Tony Hawk. I do feel like I lose some fun dialogue between characters because of it. Web of Shadows' Black Cat embodiment of bad influence, as well as having her own symbiote suit, elevates her to one of the most memorable renditions of a character. The game successfully captures the essence of her character, but it's hard to ignore some of the dialogue and interactions Black Cat feel somewhat dated and flat, I'm gonna be honest. B tier. Insomniac's Black Cat is a difficult one to judge as a whole. The first game made her goated with her introduction, teasing the player with her appearance in the main game, and then having her be a critical part of the City That Never Sleeps DLC. I just love Felicia's and Peter's relationship in this game. You could not know who Black Cat was and understand their history purely through the interactions in this opening section of the DLC. The moment Peter lays eyes on Felicia, man folds hamburger style. And it's so easy to determine who has control in these conversations. I know it, you know it, and most importantly, Black Cat knows it. And she uses that power to get to Peter to pretty much do whatever she wants. The mannerism and voice acting of Erica Lindbeck brings this character to life and then some. In both games, it's the little details that stick out to me the most. Like how she breaks all the cheap wine when she's talking to Spidey, or this mid-fight animation. This has to be the best evolution of her costume. It's very seductive, but more tactical and practical. Like her mask actually has lenses. Who would have thought that would be a nice thing for a thief who constantly gets shot at? Of the two costumes in the Insomniac games, I gotta say I love Spider-Man 2's version a lot better, just because it adds the iconic white fur that was missing in the original suit. My only clause with this cat is how underutilized she was in Spider-Man 2. Look, I'm not saying she needed to be the biggest part of the story, but the devs gave her the best chase sequence in like any Spider-Man game, showing off some of the coolest gameplay mechanics. Just for her to announce that she has some random girlfriend in France, and then she leaves? What? I'm all for developing characters in fresher, newer ways, but this whole mission felt like a filler episode. We could have easily gotten the mission with Felicia interacting with Peter while he has a symbiote, and at first, Cat is impressed with this tougher, edgier Peter, but realizes that it's changed him in a bad way. This would have made more of an impact to the overall story, and the consequences of Peter having the symbiote mean more. Really big missed opportunity in my personal opinion, but I hope she comes back for the DLC or Spider-Man 3 to fix that. Even with this big letdown, I still think Black Cat is represented amazingly in these games, from her personality to her movement to her costume design. A tier all around.
You ready? Come home? You bet.
And leave me again?
Oh, for fuck's sake. The Black Cat of 2099 possesses the same gaslighting abilities as the original, but lacks the genuine charm, making her a budget version.
How much rejection is a girl supposed to take?
Created by Alchemex through cloning, she combines Felicia Hardy and the Tigress's DNA, designed to safeguard the Alchemex building as a watch cat against serious threats. However, she's bound to stay within the facility forever. Burdened with the memories of the real Felicia Hardy and cursed to never age, this version of Black Cat is a tragic one. Though there isn't too much to her and Peter's story in the game, the little we did have felt awkward. Peter can't decide whether he feels bad for her or wants to beat the living shit out of her. In the end, he chooses to do both, which leads to one of the weirdest cutscenes in a Spidey game.
Be honest, was I
Yeah,
good?
you were great. Better than the original.
The better than original line pisses me off the most. I guess it could be interpreted as he's trying to make her feel better for being a clone, but the line delivery is so weirdly flirty, and like afterwards they almost kiss, which doesn't make sense for Peter's character because moments before he begs Miguel to save MJ because a future without MJ is no future at all. Just because you're stuck in the future where your girlfriend is dead doesn't mean you get to cheat on her, Pete. That's some real scumbag shit. Her costume looks like a middle schooler's first Catgirl OC, and her boss fight is mid as hell. There was a lot of potential for this character, so I was originally gonna put it in C tier, but the cutscenes tick me off so much, I'm putting Black Cat 2099 in D tier, where she belongs. In TASM 1, we are introduced to the cat robbing a bank, but not in the sly master thief sort of way. More like,
all right, put the money in the bag. Put it in!
I'm gonna be honest, it was a little jarring at first to see her more like a crime boss type character, holding hostages and having a standoff with the police. Her outfit reflects this change as well, as she opts for more of a leather biker fit. Personally, I don't like this design change. It's not because there's a lack of spandex, it just subverts her typical themes of being a cat burglar too much. However, she's still headstrong and confident like other Black Cats, and not being afraid to take on Spidey, and even getting the drop on him. She fights pretty defensively, utilizing smoke bombs and EMPs to keep Spidey at bay, but when all else fails, she uses her greatest weapon, the art of seduction.
You look pretty.
What did you say?
I said you look shitty. Good night, Denise.
It's funny to me that TASM Spidey is the only one who doesn't clam up like a teenage boy when he talks to Felicia. Truly the alpha Chad of Spider-Man. One thing I love to praise about the TASM games is how they further Spider-Man's relationship with his villains. It always feels like there's a progression with these characters rather than just being one-off fights. Black Cat makes her return in TASM 2, as she escapes Ravencroft and has a newfound infatuation with the Webhead. Not for his way with words, but with his way with webs. That sounded better in my head. She undergoes an experiment to give herself more power so she can be like her new crush. I love this progression of her character. It's not just story related, but also gameplay related. With her new cat power, she's faster, so she becomes more aggressive than her previous incarnation. I definitely like TASM 2's Black Cat more, as she's more similar to her typical personality. On top of that, we get the one time we interact with Felicia Hardy in the civilian world in games. This interaction, while it was brief, showcased that even though Spider-Man and Black Cat are similar, being both superhumans and coming from poor families, they could not be more different in their ideologies and could never work as a couple. TASM games continue to surprise me with each video and have the strongest urge to play them. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. But in the meantime, I'm giving TASM Black Cat a solid B. As much as I want to like PS1 Black Cat, mainly due to the fact that she's voiced by one of my favorite voice actors, Jennifer Hale, known for her iconic roles like Commander Shepard, Jean Grey, and Number 86. I just can't get past the nightmare feel of the face. I understand it was the year 2000, and we're a long ways from the facial animation quality of like Uncharted, but at least the majority of the other characters had masks and non-human faces to hide behind. She looks like Michael Jackson with a lack of sleep. I don't know why in the PS1 version they didn't give her a mask to give her face a bit more depth, but this haunted my soul as a kid. I do like the rest of her outfit. Classic Black Cat fit with a dark bodysuit and fur-lined gloves and boots. Can't go wrong with that. She's more of an ally to Peter in this game than other versions, as she helps Peter refresh on some moves, console Peter when Venom kidnaps MJ, and helps Peter take down the Rhino. And by help, I mean get yeeted! It's nice to see a more positive side of their relationship, where she doesn't play my boy like a fiddle, as the game takes place further in Spider-Man's superhero career. She doesn't really help Spidey with the missions per se, so you don't get to see her skills, and then halfway through the game she gets carted away by Doc Ock's goons to be locked in a cell for some random reason. This cat feels more of a cameo than a full-fledged character, as her role can be easily done by another Marvel hero, but she doesn't do anything offensive to ruin the experience. For that, I'll give her a C tier. If there's any character that asks the questions the most of friend or foe to the Spider, it's Black Cat. Though her only crime in this game is working as a locksmith, so not much foe in this one. In a game with multitudes of characters, it can be difficult to spotlight one certain character. The small cutscenes we do get with Cat captures the basic relationship dynamic between her and Spidey, in a cute and fun way. Even though we have a Raimi-inspired Black Cat already, the more cartoonish design is pretty fun, opting for a classic look with more of a streamlined style. The most unique design element is probably the big white eyes on her mask. I don't think any other adaptation has this element. It's a hit or miss in cutscenes, but during gameplay, it helps her stand out a lot more. Her moveset is nothing to run home about, playing as a standard nimble character. Her signature weapon is a grappling hook that she uses to quickly pick up items and throw and swing around and create space. Not a memorable enough to be a mainstay in my friend or foe team, but not the worst adaptation that I've seen. I'll give it a C tier. It's a little weird that Disney Infinity included a character primarily known to seduce and gaslight our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in a primarily kids game. But hey, this version doesn't seem too bad.
Disgusting goo monsters. They're really cramping my style, hero.
Cramping my style.
Shut the fuck up. Know your fucking place, trash.
When I was doing research for this video, I was convinced that Insomniac's rendition was going to take the top spot. But then I remembered the Black Cat from Spiderman 2 The Movie, the video game.
You got nice moves for a dork in tights.
This version of the fabulous feline is the closest thing we'll get to Black Cat in Raimi movies, and probably the version that has the most impact on Spider-Man. Following the same themes of the 2004 movie, Peter is at this weird crossroad, struggling to balance between his civilian and superhero lives. Enter the Black Cat, a master thief who steals Peter's attention. Their relationship slowly unfolds throughout the game as the two play cat and spider as they traverse across the rooftops of New York, trying to get a feel for each other. It's not until Peter is distraught when he witnesses the love of his life get swept off her feet by another man. Cat does an act of kindness as she offers to help Peter stop some art thieves. This is where their relationship takes off. Even though Felicia is a criminal, she cares enough about Spidey to make him feel better, even if it means being a do-gooder. A lot of their interactions take place during these swinging sections. And the wild part is, it's like never flashy, just some playful banter and some light jazz. It's low-key intimate. As the two get more comfortable with each other, Felicia begins expressing her ideologies that a normal life is boring and below gifted people like them. Peter actually begins to consider this because juggling a double life is taking a toll, and maybe being Spider-Man is who he meant to be full-time. This moral dilemma of whether to shed the skin of Peter Parker or embrace Spider-Man is what Web of Shadows wanted to be. In that game, it was so black and white with his choices, but that's not how real life works, and more things need to be considered. The Black Cat in this game isn't outlandishly a bad influence like in Web of Shadows. Felicia has her beliefs, and it's up to Peter to determine if he agrees with her or not. I ranked this adaptation higher than Insomniac because both characters share a mutual respect for each other, whereas Insomniac's relationship appears predominantly one-sided. The costume remains alluring, yet not the sole focus of our character like in Edge of Time. The personality of Black Cat is familiar while also being refreshing compared to TASM. Man, I'm surprised to say this cat steals the crown with an S tier.
Once I cross your path, I'm not so easy to get rid of.
There are tons more Black Cats to talk about, from mobile games to arcade games, but I felt like most of these don't have enough depth to have a full discussion about them. So instead, I have an honorable mention sections for the cats that stood out to me. Lego Black Cat. Her powers are a combo of Wolverine and Spider-Man, which is like a wet dream for Insomniac. And myself. Future Fight. I never gave Future Fight a real shot, but I gotta say, I love how they bring modern takes to classic designs. Contest of Champions. Her moves are freaking awesome, and that costume design, she's a complete and utter badass. Spider-Man the arcade game. The closest thing we get to the 90s animated show design, and the sole reason my sister even played video games with me in the first place. Well, there you have it, my rankings of Black Cats in video games. I'm still surprised at some of these rankings, and it was awesome to learn how much depth this character really has. What do you think about this list? Do you agree or disagree? And are there any cats that I missed? Comment below and let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was a blast to make, and I have even more Spider-Man ranking videos on the way, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, fair winds and safe travel, mate.